and welcome to Going Mad. I'm Kaylee.
And I'm Vanessa.
And guess what, guys? Today is Valentine's Day. We are recording 2 episodes in one day. You can't see my little dance, but I'm going to be discussing a personal case in Colorado that I think it got a little bit of national attention. It's the case of Jessica Ridgway. And Vanessa's going to be going over a Valentine's Day murder case. Mm-hmm. Fitting for the day. Yes. So, if you have any crazy stories you want us to go over, let us know. You can email us at goingmadpod@gmail.com. You can message us on Facebook, send us an Instagram, comment on our YouTube, and then you can basically find our podcast anywhere. I mean, we're everywhere. We're very available.
Yes.
You know, we're out there. So, take it away, Vanessa.
Okay. Hi, all you new followers on Facebook, too. I can't believe we got so
my
many.
Gosh.
Thank you, everyone.
So exciting. It's so exciting.
Yes. Thank you. You guys are the reason why we keep recording, so thank you so much. Valentine's Day is today, as like Haley said, and I actually was just like, I wonder how much people spend on Valentine's Day. You know, I was just kind of curious, so I looked it up and wrote some facts down for you.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Americans spent $27.4 billion in 2020 on Valentine's Day.
What?
A billion. 27.4
Oh my God.
billion.
And that's just Americans?
And that's just Americans. It's claimed to be one of the most expensive days of the year.
Wow.
Yes. The number has gone up every year. I looked at a little chart, and it was like, I think it started in like 1996. So every year it has gone up a bunch. But actually in 2021, they expect it to go down about $6 billion. Probably because,
that would make sense.
Yeah, not a lot of people are probably going out to eat this year because that's like a big expense. That's what a lot of people spend it on. The money, of course, candy. They actually spend a lot on diamonds. This is a big day for...
Diamonds are a girl's best friend.
Yeah, so and that, actually, I looked into that. I'm like, I wonder how many people get engaged on this day. And it was estimated about 6 million couples are likely to get engaged on Valentine's Day.
What about people that are getting married on Valentine's Day?
You know what? I didn't look at that.
So here's why I say this. Because I know up here in Colorado, Red Rocks traditionally every year has, they do ceremonies for Valentine's Day. They'll just marry people.
Oh, yeah? Outside?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, at Red Rocks, which... That's where I got married.
Yes, it is very pretty.
Not on Valentine's Day, though. I wasn't, cheesy about it. Not that it's cheesy. God, Kaylee, stop.
That was bad. Bad, Kaylee, bad.
Bad, Kaylee, bad.
Yeah, anyways, that was my little facts that I just wanted to throw out to you before I got into the murder.
Those are super interesting. Super interesting. Yeah. I'm glad that you did that.
Oh, thanks. So let's
so happy about that. Yes. We're starting on a high and then we're bringing it way down.
We're going to bring it down a little bit, but it's still on Valentine's Day. In 2001, which is exactly 20 years ago today.
Dang.
We have John Hamilton, who's actually a doctor, and his wife Susan. They have been together at this time in 2001 for 14 years. They did have some money, and John always gave Susan expensive gifts. They would go on crazy vacations, stuff like that. Even on their wedding day, he gifted her a Porsche. So that's just telling you how much money he had. So why does he have money? Because he's actually an OBGYN doctor. And Susan actually worked at his practice part-time. So on this Valentine's Day, John went home to give Susan her Valentine's Day gift. When he got home, though, he found his wife in the bathroom. She was actually naked, and she was already dead, laying on the floor covered in blood. She actually been strangled with a tie, and her head was beaten in so badly, some of her brains was falling out. Yes. They believe it was a blunt object, and they also believe that her head was literally just smashed against the floor.
Yikes.
That blunt object, though, caused the most damage, but it was not also found. They could not find it in the house.
Yikes.
So who would have killed Susan? Like, why would she, who would have killed her? I mean, did somebody break in, but no forced entry was found. And nothing was actually taken from the home. And these guys have money, so they have expensive stuff, but nothing was taken. So like in pretty much all cases, they look at who's closest to the victim, which in this case would be John, the husband. He said he had nothing to do with it. He had nothing to do with the murder. The evidence was pointing towards him, though. So first off, Susan expected John of having an affair. Susan's daughter, which was actually John's stepdaughter, told the court that Susan had found phone records that could have been up to 60 phone calls to this one woman that John was calling.
What?
Yeah. 60 phone calls.
0?
60. I don't think I called
Lord.
anyone that
I don't
much
talk
in
to my
lifetime.
husband that much.
Yeah. Everyone else, though, said the couple had a loving marriage. They spent, lots of time together. They acted like they were in love. But the police found a Valentine's card at the home, and it was from Susan to John, and this is what it read on the inside. I bought this 2 weeks ago, so I guess maybe it doesn't seem as appropriate, but I do love you. Have a good day, Susan. So that seemed weird to the police, and that seems weird to me.
That's weird.
Like, what does that
is super
mean?
weird. She knew something.
Yeah.
So, okay, you'll probably get to this, baby. Divorce, A.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they had talked about divorce. B, the affair. She was confronting him about the affair.
Yeah.
Or that's all I got.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously that did seem really weird, especially to write in a Valentine's card. So,
Right.
actually, John was taken into custody pretty quickly. When the police looked into John's schedule that day, they actually found out he was late to a second surgery for that day. So that's when they took him in. He was held in jail without bail, and the trial started in December of that year. Most people believed that John could not have killed his wife. Susan's closest friends, though, revealed that she was considering a divorce. Probably because of the affair.
Called it.
But the person who, the lady who John was making all those phone calls to, denied the affair. John denied the affair, of course, but she also denied the affair.
So
I
do
don't
we
know.
know who this woman is? Like, did he work with her? Did he...
Okay, she was a patient of his.
Ah.
Yeah. And they said that, well, John said that she talked to her so much because she was going through a difficult time. And so he was helping her out.
Okay. I don't like that, but I'll take it.
Yeah. So there's that. I mean, there's, like I said, she did find the phone records of them talking on the phone a lot.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. They denied it. So, but there is more evidence. On John's steering wheel, there was traces of Susan's blood and some like skin follicles or whatever they're called. Which I didn't write this here. I might have wrote it down later, but this just popped in my head. I did write it down later, but I'll tell you now. He said the reason why there was blood on the steering wheel is because after he called 911 when he found Susan's body, he went out to his car to move it for the ambulance.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Who thinks to do that? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
my wife is dead. Let me go move my car. Oh, no one thinks that.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, but that's what he says.
Bullshit.
But anyways, there was more blood evidence found on John's shoe. So a splatter analysis stated that it consisted with a splatter of blood when Susan would have been alive. So that was evidence against him. Of course, John denies all of this on trial. He said the blood on his shoe was from trying to save Susan. So his clothes were bloodied, but because he was trying to give her CPR. Another thing to throw out, though, he didn't have any blood on his face. Because when you give CPR, you give breaths.
Right.
And so he said that he did that, but there was no blood on his face. But there was blood on his shirt. So, like I said, he did deny the affair, but there's still more evidence on... Whoops, I already read that.
You do you, girl.
I wrote it down, I said it. Yeah, okay, I'm just like talking faster than I can read, I guess. Okay, but on trial, the blood splatter expert said that the splatter on John's sleeve actually would have came from him hitting Susan with a blunt object.
Oh, damn.
Yes. A wet rag was also found near Susan. It looked like an attempt maybe to clean it up. Clean up the blood because there was so much blood. So here's the story that the police and detectives believe that went down on that Valentine's morning. John had a surgery at 7 a.m. He was done by 8. He then went home to murder Susan, tried to clean it up, but had to leave because he had another surgery coming up. He dumped his clothes and the murder weapon on his way to work. So he was late to his second surgery. I think it was at least 30 minutes late.
Okay.
Then he...
Okay. Can I just pause you right here?
Uh-huh.
I work in a surgery department at a hospital. I have never, ever heard of a surgeon who does a case, goes home, and comes back. I have never heard that.
Yeah. Well, apparently he lived really close.
I'll put this out there. I work at an academic medical center. They have an office off campus, or not, it's on campus, but it's not within the hospital. It's usually, they have offices throughout the college, at the university. But still, I have never heard of a surgeon going from a, 7 o'clock start time, getting done, going home, coming back. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. So he was back home at 10:45, and that's when he called 911. And that's when, the ambulance came or whatever. When the police took him into custody not that long after, they said he was acting really weird. He was scraping his knuckles on the mesh in the car. They think maybe because to cover up...
To get rid of,
DNA
DNA or something?
Yeah. Or he had, wounds from Susan.
Defensive wounds and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, the thing that pretty much, put the nail in the coffin for him, if you want to say that, was the blood splatter analysis was on his defense. But when he was on I just drew a blank. What is that called when you're on...
The stand?
On the stand, thank you. When he was on the stand, he was asked if there was anything that was missed. And that's when he said that the blood splatter on his clothes had to been from, him striking her. And that was actually on his defense. But he said that he was under oath and he had to tell the truth. I don't know. The whole story is kind of weird because if he would have left, let's say he did come home and killed her, if he had all that blood on his shirt, he would have taken it off and kept it.
Right.
To go to surgery, come back home and put it back on.
Right.
See, that doesn't make sense. Unless he came home, he got mad at Susan, they had a big fight, He went back to surgery. He didn't kill her yet, and then came back right after the surgery and killed her really quick. Because I couldn't find... That sounds more like it. But I couldn't find an actual time of death.
Okay, I was just about to ask that.
know.
Like, was there any sort of time of death? So,
Well,
if
and
that's the
that's
case...
That's still a small window because remember he called 911 at 10:45 and he was at surgery. So he was done at 8 at his first surgery. He could have went back home. Maybe he found the Valentine's card. He got mad. That's gotten a big fight. Because I think he was done at surgery at 9. So yeah, that could have gave him time to go home and, you know, murder her and then call 911 at 10:45. Well,
was this in the morning?
Yeah, this was in the morning.
Okay. Yeah, that's... So, okay, so surgery at 7, done at 8, home, half an hour later, or he was half an hour late to his next case, but still done by 9:45?
No, I lied. He got home at 10:45. He
Okay.
I think his next case he was supposed to be at 9, but he was late, so I think it started at 9:30, which was a very short surgery.
Well,
Maybe
you
it
know, they
wasn't.
have those.
Yeah, so anyways, is all a very tight timeline.
Yeah.
So that was one of his, you know, defenses, like, you know, I mean, I was accounted for, you know, doing these 2 surgeries.
Right.
But the jury found him guilty after only 2 hours.
Oh, shit.
you know,
That's
deliberating.
quick.
Yeah.
Usually if
That
it's
is
a quick,
quick.
like, deliberation like that, they're guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he is sentenced to life in prison.
Dang.
I don't know. It is a very tight timeline, but
Yeah,
They-
but
they
still,
did
I
find
mean,
him
like I
guilty.
said, I've never heard of a surgeon, and I know many surgeons. I work with surgeons every day.
yeah.
I've never heard of a surgeon doing a case, leaving and
Yeah.
coming back. Like, not, I mean, people go leave and get lunch and stuff, but I've never heard of a surgeon leaving and going home and coming back.
Yeah.
Like, that's just,
Weird.
that is strange. But, like I said, I mean, I probably work in a very different environment than what he was in. So I can't say for certain, yeah, that's strange. Like, maybe surgeons...
Yeah, why would he go home to give her her Valentine's gift when he could have just waited after his second surgery?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Weird.
So,
Interesting.
very strange, but he was found guilty, so.
Good. Good.
Crazy story.
Yes.
That's it.
Okay. Okay, so I just want to put this disclaimer out there. So this story that I'm about to tell involves a child.
Oh.
And I have a little bit of a personal story to it. So Jessica Ridgway. I don't know for certain if this case got national attention, but I have a feeling that it did. Like, I mean, you know, I've lived in Colorado my entire life. I don't know what news stories cover outside of Colorado, you know, to be fair. But I do think that it did get a little bit of national attention. So, Jessica Ridgway. She was born in 2002. She lived in Westminster, Colorado, which is where I grew up. So to kind of give you a reference point, Westminster is a northern suburb of Denver. And so I grew up in Westminster, Thornton, Arvada, you know, throughout the northern part of Denver, the suburbs of Denver. That's where I grew up. And so that's where this story kind of takes place. So she lived in Westminster, Colorado. On October 5th, she, you know, it was like any other day. She was getting ready for school, would say goodbye to her mom. And then usually she would meet her friend at the end of the street and they would walk to school together. Well, on October 5th, unfortunately, Jessica just didn't show up. Her friend just kind of, after a while, just decided, I'm going to walk to school by myself, I guess. Well, when Jessica failed to show up to school, they tried to get a hold of her mom, but her mom works nights, and so she didn't get the message until hours later. And, once she got the message, clearly, like I said, hours later, once she got the message, she reported Jessica as missing, and there was a huge search committee that had been assembled, and kind of, they went out and searched, and, they closed roads. I remember, so when this whole thing was happening, I actually lived 6.5 hours away. So this was my freshman year of college, and I had gone to school down in Durango, and I knew what was going on based off of Facebook posts from my friends, and just kind of the news media outlets. But I was living in Durango, which oddly enough, at the exact same time, was going through the exact same situation with another missing child. It was crazy. So that one, once again, that's something I can cover in a future episode. His name was Dylan Redwine. And so it was just weird to me that this was happening at the exact same time as this case. So anyways, there was a huge search for her. Like I said, closed down roads, really trying to find her any way that they can. So 2 days go by, and they find her backpack and a water bottle on the side of the road about 6 miles away from where she lived. So, they kind of were like, okay, well, we found her stuff. Maybe there's some hope. The search continued, but the longer the search went, the more they were like, yeah, I just don't think we're going to find her alive. And so unfortunately, 3 days later, after they found the backpack, they did end up finding her remains. And when I say remains, sorry, this is about to get graphic, they mean her torso. They found her torso in a garbage bag in Arvada, about 5 minutes away from where I went to high school. So, sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. I just want to put this out there. When I laugh during these cases, it's because I'm uncomfortable. It's not because I'm making fun. It's not because it's because I'm it's a nervous laugh. It's a nervous laugh. I just have to put that out there. So, anywho, they found her remains in Arvada, Colorado. So they found her remains off of 80th, which I don't know what that turns into. Basically, you just take 80th all the way to Highway 93, and so we call it the Blue Flame. That's just the area that it is for, high school kids. You drive past and there's a blue flame just in the middle of nowhere. And so that's in the area of where her body was found. And so my friend Ashley, shout out to Ashley again. My friend Ashley actually worked at the elementary school that was right by that, by where they found the body. And so it was just it's a weird situation. So anyways, they found, her remains, and then closer to where they found her remains, officers found a small wooden cross necklace, like I said, it was close to where her remains were. So about 2 weeks after they had found, the remains and the wooden stuff, and Jessica had been taken, there was a woman that called the police tip line. She had recognized the necklace on the news report, and she was like, hey man, this looks just like the necklace that my neighbor has. And this would be 17-year-old Austin Sigg. A few days after that, they got another call, and it was Austin's mom saying, my son would like to confess to killing Jessica Ridgway. So he almost, it was so close, he almost wasn't caught. here's a crazy story. So he had gone in, once the neighbor had called and said, hey, this looks just like the necklace of my neighbor, they had brought him in for DNA testing, and they actually lost his DNA.
Oh.
So they
That's
weren't
not
actually, yeah, they weren't actually like able, the results were inconclusive, obviously. And so he almost got away with it. But he felt so, he thought that they were going to find him. Like, he was like, oh shit, they know I did it. I have to confess. So that's what he did. He confessed. Mindy, which is Austin Sig's mom, had, like I said, had called and said, hey, you guys need to get over here right away. My son is confessing to this. And so Austin got on the phone and said, quote, I murdered Jessica Ridgway. I have proof that I did it. There is no question. And then he said, I'm giving myself up completely. There will be no resistance whatsoever. So he was all like about it. He was like, okay, I'm just, like I said, he thought that they were onto him, and so he confessed.
Yeah.
And so Austin has a little bit of a strange and kind of troubling history. When he was 12, he was caught watching child pornography.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and he was actually he was sent to therapy to kind of talk about it, but it actually didn't work. And he was obsessed with death. He was actually going to school to become a mortician, which, fun fact, one of my mom's friends went to school with him.
Whoa.
Yeah, so he went to one of the area community colleges. So it's funny because he was still a high school student. I mean, he was 17 years old. He was still a high school student, but he was taking classes at one of the community colleges. And my mom's friend was taking a class with him. So that was fun. So yeah, he was just kind of obsessed with weird things. And so his computer search, actually, like his history, showed that he had been wanting to kill someone for a long time, and he was just super interested in it. He had looked up chloroform recipes, and the top 10 places that people get abducted.
Oh.
Yeah. So then, after this whole admission came, he ended up giving a second confession to trying to kidnap another woman. So this woman was out jogging, and I've heard the phone call. I have heard the police call that he gave. Like, he was talking to the dispatcher about the whole situation, and it's chilling. Like, it's I'm cringing right now just thinking about the phone call, because he's literally just confessing to everything, and I'm just like, he's a kid. Like, this is a kid.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy. So anyways, he basically 4 months earlier, he had tried to attack this woman who was just out jogging. He had shoved a chloroform-soaked rag into her face and, try and subdue her. Well, she ended up fighting him off and escaping. So, fun fact... I shouldn't say that. Sorry, here's my weird nervous laughter again. So I ended up calling my friend Ashley today, like I said, because she, worked right down the street from where Jessica Ridgway was found. Well, while I was talking to Ashley, her mom's friend Gretchen was with her, and Gretchen was like, I think he was stalking me.
Oh my God.
Yes, and I didn't ever know this. And so she told me the story, and she was like, I was out running one night, and so she lived about, I don't know, less than 10 minutes. Less than 10 minutes away from where Jessica Ridgway was found. So she said that she had been out jogging, and she saw this guy who had a hat on, kind of same build as Austin Sig's, and it seemed like he was trying to make an attempt on her, like trying to attack her, and then thankfully she was just right by her house, and so she ran inside, and so she has two sons who she told her two sons what happened, and they had gone outside, and by the time this guy had gotten into his Jeep and driven away. And so she's like, you know, she wanted me to make it very clear, like, she didn't know for sure that this was him, but he resembled Austin Sigg a lot. Like, it was very similar. So, anyways, Austin, after the whole failed jogger incident, he realized that he needed a smaller, weaker victim. So he said he was out, quote, hunting. And that's when he came across Jessica. So he pulled up beside her in his Jeep and dragged her into the back seat, binding her hands and feet with zip ties, and then drove her to his home. He had kept her as a prisoner in his bedroom, and meanwhile she had urinated herself. She was, you know, obviously rightfully scared, and urinated herself. So he ended up he cut her hair and made her change clothes. And then it says that he had sexually assaulted her. I don't know that for sure. I just want to put that out there. I don't know for sure if that actually happened. The source that I have says that he did, but I don't remember that actually happening. Like, I don't have any recollection of him assaulting her that way. But then he did strangle her. Sigg ended up dismembering her body in his bathtub before ultimately putting her remains into bags and then hiding them in a shed in his backyard. So he got nervous because, you know, police were out searching and they had dogs and stuff. And so he had gone and gotten the remains out of the shed, and that's when he then put the torso in the field. But the rest of the body was in a crawl space in his home. Either that or he had flushed it. Like, he tried to flush things that he couldn't hide. So, it's just so heartbreaking. It's so sad.
Yeah.
So, he, like I said, he ended up confessing, and they brought him in right away. And just shy of his 18th birthday, he wasn't eligible for the death penalty, because he was young. He was technically still, I think he might have been tried as a minor. I don't really know for sure. But he was sentenced to life in prison plus 86 years for Jessica's kidnapping and murder, and for the charges related to the jogger. So it's a crazy story. Like I said, I mean, this happened right where I grew up, so it was weird to me. And you know, I remember my mom having like soup, like she knew where the body was. Which is weird. And that area where the body was found it's not developed. It's just an open area. It's kind of mountainy. You know, I'll have to send you a picture of it, because I actually just drove past it the other day.
Oh man.
So I'll have to go down there again and send you a picture of it. But it's not like flat land. It's rocky. It's, you know, there's nothing out there. There's like there's trails and stuff so you can hike around, but other than that, there's really not much out there. And so for me, it was just so weird, because I'm like, oh my God, like I literally went to high school 5 minutes away from where they found her body.
Yeah.
So it was just crazy. And then all of my friends were, you know, following the case. And so my friend Ashley, the one that was working right by where they found the body, apparently, I didn't remember this, but she had told me this today. She was actually down in Durango with me when they found the body. Like, she was out there visiting us. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that. And so I always, like, whenever I think of that story, I think of Ashley, because she worked so close to where they found the body. And it was a terrible situation. Like, just horrible horrible, horrible, horrible situation. And for me to have grown up in that area, I'm just like,
Yeah, that's something you don't forget for sure.
Right, and and so like I said, I think it got national coverage, and there's actually a podcast out there that covered this case. So if you want more in-depth information about it, look it up. But I didn't want to go super into it just because it is kind of a sad situation. Like it's, especially when it comes to children.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about stories about children, for sure.
Right. So I didn't want to go super in depth about it, but, do your research. If you want to look into more of the details of it and just kind of find out more, you can. But yeah, that's the story of Jessica Ridgway. Every year on Facebook, I get so many people that share the memories of, posting about her. And,
yeah.
Like I said, so I lived in Durango. I was my freshman year of college. And there was a similar case going on down in Durango of another missing child who, honestly, I don't know. They've never found his remains. They still haven't found his remains. But I believe they convicted the dad of that whole case. And so I can go into that on another episode. But
yeah, I need to look into that.
Yeah, but I'll never it was just weird to me that it's like I moved to Durango, I see missing signs for this kid, and then, a couple weeks later I see that this girl has gone missing in my hometown, not my hometown, but where I grew up, and I, have family that live there, and it was crazy. So anywho, that's my sad, sad, sad story of Jessica Ridgway.
Sorry to end on a sad note.
I know. I will say, when we do these, like, true crime cases, I always am like, that was so sad. It's just so sad.
Yeah.
So sad. Anywho.
But keep the memory alive.
Yes.
And
yeah, they do.
her memory alive.
Like the
so
news stations
good.
around kind of do like a memorial to her every year, which I think is great. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that is it for us today, guys. I hope you had a good Valentine's Day. I hope you like our stories. Please, if you have any stories you want us to tell or any topics you want us to research, let us know. We are here to please you. Email us, goingmadpod@gmail.com. We have Facebook. Hit us up on there. Thank you for all our new followers on Facebook.
I'm so excited.
We have Instagram.
So excited about the new followers. It's awesome. It's great.
We have some things in the work, maybe, too, in the future for you guys.
Yes!
So, secret for now, but we will tell you once we get there. Listen to us anywhere you listen to podcasts, and we will see you next time, guys.
We sure will.
Bye!
Bye!